I would say, especially paper, for sure. That's where I did most of my networking, and developed a lot of my skills. I would say it definitely helped a lot, especially because when I did reach out to, the labels, that was the experience that I would talk about there, where I had to let them know, like, hey, I know that, because at the time I was, 20, reaching out to these labels. And I had to let them know, like, hey, like, I know that I'm kind of young and I just graduated high school 2 years ago, but I've done a lot in that time. And this is what I've done. So for sure, through the networking as well as just developing my skills, that definitely helped me land, like, my future roles, because most of the time they want to see that you've done something to show that you have something to bring to the table. So that's why I say definitely take all the internships in stride and like really take them in, because those are the skills that you develop through those are what's going to ultimately get you to the place that you want to be. It's not an overnight thing, but that's what's going to help you build up, because I can't be a pro without getting through like the novice steps. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
So, so to share some stuff about me, I personally just started my internship this year at our Penthouse Studios in New York City. It's kind of like a tough spot to be like in an internship and all of that. So thank you. But like so far so good. Everyone's been super great and everything. But what advice would you give out for people like such as myself who are like just starting off at their first internship?
Mm-hmm. I would say definitely make sure, because that's something I struggled with, just be on time physically. I would get my work done on time, but physically I would sometimes be late. And luckily, because my boss really loved me.
Fucked with you, right?
Yeah, she was like, all right, Taylor, but you can't be coming up.
Gotcha.
But I would say definitely just make sure you're punctual. It also just reflects on how professional you are, which is something I had to learn through that. And then I would say just be open to helping like in other departments or like other little tasks, and never think that any task is too small. Like I used to offer myself even for remedial tasks, because you can still like learn as much as you can even through those smaller tasks. And it also shows your proactiveness. That's one thing that they love, is that when someone's proactive, it shows that they want to be there. It shows that they want to learn. It shows that they want to grow. So that's the number one thing that I would say is definitely be proactive, get your work done, and it's okay to ask questions. Don't be afraid to
Absolutely.
ask questions. Sometimes people feel like they might be like stepping on toes, but that's the whole point of an internship, is to gain the knowledge. And it's like, if you really aren't sure about something or you're just curious, it's okay to ask. Obviously, don't ask when they're in the middle of something like, big or like a meeting or something, but like when you have the time, or like, want to email them, or they have a moment when you see them eating lunch and you want to sit down and eat with them too, ask. It's okay. And they know that you're there to learn and to experience and to grow. So, and I would say also just go into it with a smile and just be happy to have the opportunity and just make the most of it. Honestly, like internship stuff helped me so much get to where I am now. And even though I'm nowhere near where I want to be, I couldn't get to my ultimate goal without getting the internships, because my internships got me here, and then from here I'll get to the next step, which gets me to the next step. So it's not something that you can skip, nor do I recommend people skipping it, just because you really learn so much and create like those base skills in order to be who you ultimately will end up being.
Right. Thank you so much for your advice. But going back to what you said about like having a good attitude, how much does attitude really play into really doing a good job and like making a big impression?
Well, to go back to like, the relationship that I had with my boss, I think it plays a lot into it. For some people it doesn't matter as much, depending, each internship,
right, it's different, of course.
Each team you're with is different in the sense that some are only going to be there to care about you getting your work in on time and this, that, and that. But for most people, because they're also humans, beyond the work, we do establish like, relationships. And that's why I say like go in with a smile and be genuine and like, show that you want to be there, because your attitude will be infectious. If they see you there with a smile and you're like, oh, hi, like, good morning, like, how you doing? Like showing the fact that this person wants to be here, so that just ties in with everything else. So if they see that you want to be there, you're excited to be there, you come in with a positive attitude, and you're ready to just take on anything, plus the fact that you're getting your work done and you're doing a good job, like you're basically building like the perfect like worker package, basically. You know what I mean? Like people who wouldn't want to work with someone like that, or like say if they have something in mind, who wouldn't want to put them up for like a job if somebody comes out to them. That happened with me, with my boss. Like I got to work on the FS for Fendi. If that happened maybe like 2 years ago during Fashion Week, and Fendi did a show in New York. And it's never New York, but they did a show in New York, and so we had a big event. And so my boss at Paper, she reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to work on it with her. And I was the only one out of like the people in the office that she asked to like assist her with that. But it's because beyond, me just getting my work done, like she also did fuck with me as a person. Right. So it's like, it's just that whole package thing. Like, why wouldn't you want to work with that kind of person?
It sounds like it's everything, even more important sometimes than being good at your actual job. Because because she could have chosen anybody else, and the fact that she chose you at 19 or 20 years old because of your personality and work ethic, and like it's a whole type of collection type of thing. It's pretty big.
Exactly.
Tay, for the most part, would you say, because you brought up an interesting point, you talked about networking, but we're in this new age with technology and in the business world. But you said go in with a smile and always go in like you have this camaraderie to you. But it's interesting you say that, because a lot of kids in college right now, they don't come out with skill sets. And you talked about having the right skills. So would you say that the model still applies now? It's not about what you know, it's who you know? Or do you still think, no, you still have to be like, smart and be able to have that skill set? You have to have a little bit of both.
Yes, precisely. I definitely believe you have to have both. We definitely do live in a time where it's about where a lot of it is who you know or who you can reach, which is why I am a firm, not to sound corny, but I am an avid admirer as well as fan / advocate for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is truly incredible. You can reach absolutely anyone in the world, any company, anything. Like, for example, I guess, okay, I'm okay with saying this. So basically I have my brand Jet Set that's launching. And ultimately, because, I think of the bigger picture, ultimately I want to get sponsored by a liquor company, but like more like champagne / rosé / Chardonnay. So, I love Clique a lot. And so I started looking up like some of their workers like a few weeks ago on LinkedIn, and I started adding the ones like in the marketing department. And then like 10 minutes after I added one of them, even though they're all based in Paris, like I guess one of them was up and she like accepted me back immediately, but it's the person that the main person that I wanted to accept me back. And boom, now I already have her email. Now we're already connected on LinkedIn, so that when I do get to that point where my brand is big enough where I'm like, look, like, we can have like a sponsored, where we're big enough where someone would want to sponsor us, boom, I could go straight to her, and then I'll just be able to send her my deck, send her all my stats, yada, yada. But at least I already have that connection established. So that's why I'm saying like people should definitely take advantage of that, because imagine if I didn't have the LinkedIn and say like, I would just be like, here, like, yeah, I want to work with them. And then now what? Like, that's why I say people need to definitely take advantage of platforms such as LinkedIn, because it really is about who you know and how you can reach them. And LinkedIn, to me, is one of the best ways to reach business people from all businesses around the world, like in an instant. So definitely who you know and like who you can reach, but also for sure the skill sets, because yeah, you can get to that position. Say if like, somebody who's an A&R at Atlantic, and like his cousin ends up helping you get an internship, or not even an internship, because internship, they expect you to be learning and stuff. But like, imagine they get you like a legitimate job there, and then it's time for you to do the job, and the team is looking at you like, who hired this person? Like, what? Hello, like, you still need to know ultimately is what's going to make you well-rounded, having the connections and also knowing how to connect with people and how to read the room and then connect with the people that would be the most beneficial for whatever the agenda is, plus actually knowing and having the skills to ultimately get the job done. So it's definitely both of them for sure. And they go hand in hand, because if you can get your foot in the door somewhere and then you come with those skills that you already developed, oh, you're golden.
You're actually the first person to actually say that. So thank you, because you're actually like basically not only influencing, but you're teaching our viewers out there the importance of connections, but also, apps, also like sites like link to take it seriously. Like you can find connections through it.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to add me on LinkedIn, please do.
I'll probably add you on LinkedIn.
So just be my first and last name, so Taylor Gosling. The photo is of me, so you'll know it's me. But yeah, feel free to add me. I've made so many of my friends make LinkedIn's. Like back when I was at Good Music, oh my gosh, they were like, all right, girl, Miss LinkedIn, because I used to rave about it, and I used to make like the interns that I would meet, like make them, like, so they would make them sometimes like in front of me, like when we were like in the office, and like just really connect you to lots of people. And yeah, like anywhere, any of the labels, no matter what area you're in, no matter what industry, I'm telling you, the people that you're looking for are on LinkedIn. I promise you that.
All right, awesome. So you also
have good music though. No, go ahead, Mateo.
No, go ahead. You asked a question I was gonna ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so speaking of good music, you look like you have stories for days, Tay. So you explained to us a little bit how you landed at good music, but could you tell us like an overall view of how exactly it happened, like how you landed on the footstep? And also people might out there they might not know what an A&R or assistant A&R actually does. So can you teach us a little bit of what that job entitles?
Yeah, sure. So I can't go into everything, but for sure. So an assistant A&R. So A&R is like artist and repertoire. So the way that I view my definition when I think of A&R, it's like the middleman between the artist and the label. So the way I view a good A&R would be is someone that guides the artist to success without changing them and like changing who they are. Obviously, certain labels actually do try to straight up like, change artists or like brand them a certain way, even though the artist feels like that's not really them. Because, sometimes when artists later years come out, like my label made me do this. That's why I feel like a good A&R allows the artist to keep their integrity, but just puts them on that path to success, the best path to success, while keeping who they are there. And so like as an assistant A&R, you can do all types of things. So I would help create like tour merch, brainstorm for tour merch. I would like sit in on meetings, take notes. I would keep up with like the A&R that I was working with. I would keep up with his meetings. I would remind him like what we need to get done this week. Remind him of his meetings. I would sometimes go with the artist to the studio session. Sometimes I would open the studio up myself, depending on if an artist wanted to come in at 7 a.m. I had one artist I used to like to come very early.
Early in the morning, yeah.
And the thing is, he was like a one-man band type of artist where like he would record himself, he would mix his own stuff, all that stuff. So it's not like he had to have people come in. Like he didn't have to have
like an engineer, producer, all those other people.
Exactly. There you go. Jesus. Engineered all of his own stuff. So he didn't need anyone coming in. So like if he wanted to come super early, that's earlier than the interns would be there or the studio manager would be there. Like I would go there. So I literally moved 6 blocks from the studio. I lived 6 blocks from the studio so that I could be very close to the studio.
Perfect.
And also as a New York person, I was not driving. Yeah. So sometimes we have studio sessions, whether it's like late night until like the morning or it'd be like early morning. I would also have to like scout people. Like if we have certain projects and we need like a certain singer, like a violinist or pianist for something, I would help scout those people. Just to look out for different talent. I would also get to play the A&R. I was working with play him music sometimes, the artists that I was watching. So it's cool. It was really good.
Awesome.
And how many people are probably trying to die to know how many famous artists did you come across? Did you come across the Tiana Taylors, the Big Sean's, the 2 Chainz at any point when you were over there?
Yeah, I never saw Big Sean, but I remember one day I saw Pusha, and I remember I was in the office and I came into the courtyard thing, and I was just looking at the guy because he was standing at the other door, and I'm just looking, and he's looking at me, and he's on the phone, and I'm just looking oh, so familiar. And then a minute later, after we both go our ways, he went back in the building. I went somewhere else, and I was oh, okay, cool. And then Tiana, she actually shot part of one of her videos there, but then also she would record there. So she would come by, and then her daughter is the cutest thing ever. And we'd play ping pong with her. She would just watch us play ping pong, her daughter. But then designer would come by sometimes, super sweet guy, very funny. And then also with most studios, even if it's a studio that belongs to a label, they'll still rent out studio time and garner more money for the studio. So we would have all different artists come by, Playboy Cardi liked to record there a lot. Who else? I'm trying to think. Literally, yeah, a lot of people. Different artists would come, and so there would be a lot of times where it would be crazy booked, and the whole parking lot portion would be completely full. People would have to park in the alleyway or something. But and then there's some nights where it's just calmer. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool, and I met a lot of my great friends through working there. So people that were interns there, as well as the studio manager Tia, who's amazing, and then some of the artists as well that used to record there. So yeah, it was great.
Right before we switch over gears to your entrance and you stepping into the fashion world, tell us a little bit, because you said something interesting. You talked about the artists and basically how nowadays artists they try to avoid as best as they can signing deals, those 360 deals, because they feel trapped. So you've been in the music world. What type of advice would you give to an upcoming artist, if you had any advice to give?
I would say just try to stay as true to yourself as possible. And if you are offered a deal, I definitely say get a lawyer. Even if you can't really afford it, figure something out. And I say don't use the label's lawyer, because usually the label's lawyer
they're working for the label, so of course the best interest is gonna be in the lawyer, in the label, not in the artist.
Exactly.
Of course, yeah.
Not the, and that's not even subbing anything that I've
right.
No, that's just common sense.
That I've heard. I haven't dealt with that, but I just know that that lawyer is gonna be primarily focused on the people who's really paying them.
Exactly,
it's gonna be in the
who's writing the checks, exactly.
Label, exactly. So I definitely say get your own lawyer and properly go through the agreement, because you don't want to get, at the end of the day, that's your life. When you sign on that dotted line, that's your life, that's your livelihood, that's you, So I definitely say, just when it comes to the legal work, definitely be very on top of it. And sometimes you can come back to the label if there's something in there that you don't really like. You can sometimes go back and at least try. The worst that they can say is no. At least try and be oh, can we change this to this, that, and that. The worst that they can say is no. And then even if they don't necessarily give you completely what you want, if you're cool with coming to a middle ground with them, at least try for that. But I definitely say pay attention to the paperwork. I say definitely try to put yourself in the eyes, in front of, the execs that you do admire or care to be seen by, and just keep pushing. Definitely also be professional with your emails, because myself, I would get a lot of emails, and I still do, with music and stuff. And it's they're not trying to read super unprofessional things, or all right, check this out. And I've gotten ones like that. And now I don't even want to click, because it's
cringy,
you're not even going to just be hi, Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Don't even start with hi. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
check this out when you get a chance. Do I know you?
Exactly.
No
Yeah.
common courtesy.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right.
just also view it from the standpoint when you do reach out from a busy, not even talking about myself, but like say like an exec, view it from like their busy life where it's like be to the point, be concise, but also be professional, So I would say don't write an essay because say if they do like your music down the line, you could tell them your life story once they want to talk to you.
Right. But that's only if they ask.
Yeah, because if they're super busy, no offense, some might read it, but a good amount are not trying to read, like 7 paragraphs of you talking about like this is my life story, because once they hear the music, they're already and they're interested in it.
Your music should pretty much like kind of like speak some of that for you in a sense. You shouldn't have to like outline it as much in a sense. Maybe. Yeah. Well, that's for certain artists. Not every artist is the same for the most part.
Yeah, but not even that. It's just the fact that like in the moment when they're looking at it, not everybody wants to see all of that writing. So it's like if you just kind of give a quick little briefing, but keep it professional, and then they listen to the music and say they really do like your music. Once they like your music and reach back out and find a way to get to you, then of course they're gonna want to sit down and talk to you and hear about you as a person and hear about your whole story. But like sometimes that's a turnoff when they see, where they have to keep scrolling like, oh, this like Jesus, that's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, people hate reading.
Don't just send one sentence like, check me out. Like,
Nah,
just do a little paragraph if you want, a couple of sentences.
For real.
2 paragraphs max.
Right.
And just, make sure you say the hello, just be like, and then at the end, like, thank you, and put your name, stuff like that. Definitely keep it professional, but also, once again, just stay true to yourself. And also you can have influences, but don't let the influences take over you where you're sounding like somebody else. Cause at the end of the day, people are looking for something new. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
and innovative.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't always want somebody that sounds just like somebody else, because then you're going to be known as sounding like that other person. You know what I mean? Versus you being known for you. So, I just say, just stay true to yourself and, keep it cute when you, when you reach out, and also make sure you are reaching out. So definitely do your research. Even once again, back to LinkedIn, you can find A&Rs at different labels. Even say if you know like a few A&Rs, like, the Stephen Victor's or this, that, and that. There are more A&Rs than just Stephen Victor. Yes, he's one of the most prevalent, him and others, but there's still A&Rs at all of these labels. So once again, use LinkedIn. What's cool with LinkedIn is that you can in like whatever, like for example, say if I needed to find somebody, I don't know, in accounting at Capitol Records, I will type in accountant Capitol Records or accounting Capitol Records, and then it's going to pull up people where it's like that, like, those keywords match their profile.
Right, yeah.
So for example, if they want to hit up the different labels and find out different A&Rs at those labels, you can type in A&R Atlantic, A&R Capital, A&R Interscope, A&R Rock Nation. And then, the people that fall into that category, near that category, are going to pop up. And then once you have their name, you can try to add them. Let's say they don't end up adding you back. Boom, you know their name, try to find their other socials, whether it be a Twitter, whether it be an Instagram. And then from there, sometimes they have an email in their bio. Sometimes they have an email attached to the thing. You know what I mean? Something like that. So that's free game too, because that's something that I use too, is that if I can't get an email one way, I'm definitely going to find another way to get it. So I would say definitely be proactive in that sense, but I would say LinkedIn is always a great starting place. And then from there, even if you don't get the connection, their name, and then from there you can find another route to getting to that person.
It's already a start, no matter how it goes.
Because now you know who you're going towards and who you're trying to get your stuff out to. But if you don't do the research and find out who, then it's like, oh yeah, I want to speak to A&Rs at Atlantic or A&Rs at 300 Entertainment.
Yeah.
All right, but who are the people?
Who exactly? Yeah, you gotta be prepared and everything. Sometimes like who you need. Sometimes kind of like at least like it's kind of like a visual. Really, it's already kind of like solidified. Like you already kind of know. All right, like at the least I know I got to like meet with this person or that type of person. Like that's
exactly, and it also like just kind of makes it more concrete too, because once you like find those names, you know who your quote unquote targets are. So now it's like, all right, I can't find your email anywhere. Shit, I might hit the DM, but at least you know who you're reaching out to. You know what I mean? Versus you're just up in the air like, oh, I want to speak to A&Rs at this label, but who are the people? So once you find the people, figure out who they are, you're a good portion of the way there because you know the physical person in that position that you're trying to get to.